Hey, welcome to BACKtalk, the premier podcast from Successful Black Parenting Magazine, featuring in depth conversations and expert insights on crucial topics for Black families. We are ranked number one on FeedSpot and the best Black family podcast in Million Podcasts. And we're also the best mom podcast on Million Podcasts as well. So thank you for joining us. I am your host, Janice Robinson-Celeste, and now Successful Black Parenting Magazine has an interactive community of like-minded Black parents called the Black Parenting Academy, where you can converse and post questions, comments, wins, and concerns in a safe space. And I'll be sharing that link during the show, so watch for it. If your child's favorite dance moves, and you guys know I can't dance, but if your child's favorite dance moves could also teach them self-control, confidence, and kindness, would you use it every day? Well, we are about to talk about that with someone who's doing just that. So hang in there.
This is BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Hello, successful Black parents. Thank you for tuning into BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We are your go-to podcast talk show for parents. We are live, and that means anything can happen. But it also means you can post your questions in the comment section of our Facebook or YouTube pages, and I will address your questions live on air. So please don't forget to share if you care. Send our podcast to your friends, shout it out to your followers, and don't forget to use hashtag BACKtalk when you post. So today in the studio, I have, hey, it's Mr. J.
Hey, what's going on, Janice?
And I'm just loving that you're here. You're a certified teacher and YouTube creator. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And let me give you your flowers real quick. You're ranked number one on a couple publications. Congratulations on you.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
We just made our I think we passed 100 episodes recently. So we've been doing this. I've been grinding. So thank you for that.
I know the grind, so I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. And let's start by having you introduce yourself to our audience because I didn't do you any justice. So talk about you.
Yeah. So as you said, I'm a certified health and physical education teacher. I taught in the classroom for about 10 years or so. Started at high school, but went down to elementary school level, which is my absolute passion because I love the little ones. I love the imagination. I love the fun. I love the innocence. So it was a natural fit for me to go to that level. So as I was teaching over the years, I was a teacher during the pandemic, and you know how crazy that was, I'm sure. So
Yep.
I was teaching virtually, and while I was doing that, I was trying to find a way to get my kids moving and interactive, and also introducing the health components of things, like social emotional learning, character development, things of that nature. And I just didn't find things were quality. And I also didn't think that, there was much representation in that realm as well. So I came up with the idea, 5 years ago, but I just sat on it for a while. I didn't do anything about it. I know had I jumped in the pandemic while everybody was watching their phones and screens, maybe I'd be a lot bigger by now. But I sat on it for about 3 years or so. And then 2 years ago, I was like, you know what, this is something I really enjoy and really want to see what's out there and see what I have. And I started making videos for kids.
It's great too. Your channel is really, really vibrant. I'm going to show it to you guys in just a minute. But before we dive in, I always ask my guests, what's one fun or surprising fact about you that most people don't know?
One fun or surprising fact. Okay. Some people know this that know me, but since your viewers haven't met me before, I'll say something. I've been on the Family Feud, and I met Steve Harvey. It was a really fun process, and that was my first 15 minutes of fame. Now with you, this is my second.
Okay, did you go in there as, hey, it's Mr. J?
It wasn't born yet. It wasn't a thought yet. So this was some time ago.
Okay. So you use hip hop and fitness as teaching tools, and it's fun. It's fun.
Thank
So
you.
you said you came up with it 5 years ago. So what sparked it though? Like, was it the pandemic you said, but is it what was the catalyst for that moment?
Yeah, it was the pandemic at first. That was when the brainchild, like, hey, listen, we should make some stuff. And I got in front of the camera for the kids, and I don't mind being silly. So I was like dancing and making some videos, and it got good feedback. My supervisor at the time was like, hey, listen, maybe you should explore this. And I thought so too, but fear and just like, how do you go about this? I just didn't go that route. I eventually left education. I just started doing my entrepreneur journeys and going in different routes. But I got away from kids, and the more time I spent away from kids made me realize how I needed to get back somehow. I knew I didn't want to go back to the educational system, but I just needed to find a way that I can do it myself. And this channel allows me to do that. You're muted. I'm sorry.
And I'm going to probably do that because we have some background noise going on here in the studio today. But I want to show your page. So I usually don't do this because I don't
Yeah,
like going off, but I want to show you guys what his page looks like because it's pretty amazing. Look at
thank
that.
you.
Can you see that? Look at that. Hey, it's Mr. J. I'm going to just play a little bit of your intro here because I want them to see how exciting it is. So I'm going to bring it slow up.
That's me.
Look at this.
Hey, it's Mr. J.
Hang in there.
And Vortex is destroying the city with his robot army. If we're gonna stop him, we need to unlock our superpowers. Let's move fast, stay sharp, and watch out for the lasers. Dodge the lasers! Duck! Jump!
And I just love that. I just absolutely love that. Because you used a video game to get people active as well as hip hop. And you know what? Kids will buy right into that. So how did you come up with like those kind of concepts though?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that and showing what I was doing. Thank you so much. You know, that's the thing. The reason why I didn't start 5 years ago, I didn't really know how to frame this or how to go about this. There's other creators in the space that have made similar things. And like, okay, so interactive movement videos are great things to get kids moving. And we were talking a little bit before we got on about brain rot stuff. I said, I don't want kids watching things on tablets that are not meaningful or don't provide any type of value. So I figure if kids are already on tablets, because I know people are anti-screen time, some people, let's provide something good and valuable to them. So I came up with the idea seeing another creator. I will say his name is Danny Go. And he does a lot of movement-based videos for kids. But I wanted to do my own little twist on it, some hip hop to it and make it more for the culture.
Now that is very cool. Where do you do this? Do you have a studio in your home or you go to another studio? How do you do it?
It's very simple. No simple, no studio here. I'm in a basement with a green screen in front of me. I have a video editor. I send him the files. He makes it all look good for me, and then we post it on YouTube.
That's fantastic. Now, how many videos do you have now?
I think I'm in the 50 range because I go back and forth. There's the interactive stuff, the movement stuff. But again, I also want to harp in on the health things because, there's a lot of children now that are experiencing mental health issues a lot earlier than, it was in the past. So I want to make sure that that's also at the forefront. So I have videos that talk about anxiety and then again, character development. Like, I've seen children, who interrupt their parents when they're talking. So I was like, let's make a song about how to properly introduce yourself into a conversation without just blurting things out. So it's a total well-being. And I think that's what makes my channel unique. Not everyone's focusing on the whole entire well-being of a child, where they just might focus on one part of it. I try to get it all.
No, it's great. And it's also powerful for kids' social emotional growth, right?
Yeah,
Can you talk about that a little bit?
absolutely. I think, I've have almost 2 decades of working with children, and one of the things I've realized is, children need skills and tools to deal with their emotions, whether they're, super excited, super sad, super angry, whatever the case may be. So I think it's really important to teach them young how to manage their emotions, how to deal with their feeling, whether it's a breathing technique or, going outside, getting some fresh air. And I think that's important to teach kids as early as possible so they can become effective and positive adults.
No, it absolutely is true. Parents, though, they often struggle with helping kids manage big feelings. What
Mhm.
are some simple hip hop or movement based activities parents can use at home to help their children regulate these emotions? Because I would never think that, okay, now we need to do something physical.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be physical. It could just be like a breathing technique, like I said, right? Like I guess, but especially when your emotions are so heightened, right? I like to like, all right, let's calm down for a little bit, and we could do something as simple as 5 fingers up. Let's trace each finger, counting nice and slow. One, breathe in, breathe out. That's an easy technique right there. Or movement might be it. If you're really excited, maybe you need to get those movement out, and maybe that's what calms you down. There's just so many different things, and I think as a parent, it's important to understand your kid. As a teacher, I had 30 kids in a classroom, so I'd have to understand how does this kid respond to this stimulant, and how can I get this kid down. So as a parent, you should find out what's your best way of helping your kid with their big emotions, and then honing on that specifically.
That's good advice. Really good advice. You tend to emphasize positive Black male representation in
Yeah.
children's media. Can you tell us a little bit about why you do that and why it's so critical?
It's funny. When I started this, I didn't really, I saw there was a need for representation, but it wasn't like my forefront of what I was doing. But then, I get so many comments from parents and like, hey, we need this. Parent kids resonate with this, and it's great for them to see someone like you on the screen. And I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna be that role model for kids, I'm all for it. So I realize, as I'm hearing this more and more from parents, there's not many people in the space that do what I do and look like I did look. So I think, especially coming from a teaching background, I realized there weren't many Black male teachers. I just feel like we don't go into that type of field or service. And as someone who absolutely loves children, I'm going to be that guy who represent them in every way that I can.
Oh, fantastic. We need that. And I'm with those parents that
Mhm.
we need it, really, really do, in schools as well as on in media. What impact do you see it having on kids who watch your videos though?
Yeah, it's I've get comments from parents, going back to my anxiety song. I post a little snippet on TikTok, I believe, because I can't really get comments on YouTube, is the way that's set up for YouTube kids.
Mhm.
But a parent came to me and said, "Thank you for sharing this with me," because I shared it with my child, and they explained to me this is how they feel every single day. So their child is feeling what I'm telling them in this song every single day, but they didn't have the words to tell their parents. So now the parent has a better understanding. Okay, this is how this child is seeing their world every single day, and hearing something like that was really moving, and just knew that I'm doing the right stuff. It just needs to get to more people.
No, that's fantastic. Healthy habits, because we have a problem with obesity in the
Yeah.
United States. But healthy habits are key for kids. What practical routines can parents borrow from your videos to help their children stay active every day?
Yeah, I mean, the practical part of it is just watching the videos, right? Getting interactive and doing the things. When we talk about obesity, you know, I have one song just about like trying foods, different foods, because I know that, especially when they're younger, kids are picky eaters, and that's a big issue, and
Mhm.
especially when you're trying to introduce healthy foods into their diet. I know most children are on the chicken finger and fries diet, and that's about it. um, but I think there's good ways, and I know this is kind of getting away from what I do in my videos, but you can find ways to make sure that your child is getting the right type of diets. Maybe you find a way to, take them grocery shopping, getting excited about like positive food or healthy foods that they can buy, and make it into a game, help them cook with you. I have a lot of aspirations of where this channel is going to go. Right now, we're really in the early stages, but I want to introduce all health and all well-being for children down the line.
That is great. I want to put your site back up in a little bit, but
Yeah.
we know kids love music, but sometimes they listen to the wrong
Yeah.
music with some pretty negative messages in popular songs. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many kids I hear just reciting Cardi B in the car
Right.
because that's what mom listened to on the way to work. How can parents use music intentionally to instill positive values like kindness, confidence, and resilience?
Yeah, I mean, that's something kinda I've struggled with, 'cause I've had people in my ear like, "Hey, you need more of, the popular type of music," and I'm like, "Listen, this is not the route I'm going," like, I like a good beat, I like to make it fun, but I also try to have a message, and I think that's really important, like, again, going back to what we talked about brain rot videos that kids watch. I mean, there's brain rot songs that kids are listening to that just are so inappropriate for their age, and I think that we need to find more people who create music that's fun, because I also know that's a component of it as well. Parents want to hear something that they want to enjoy. So I try to make my music like fun for everyone. And I'm getting good feedback from both the parents and the children that like, okay, I can listen to this on a car trip for, a couple hours and not have to mute it or put some earplugs in.
Right. And that's important. I see all the different things that you are doing here, like patience in motion, before I swim, the water safety song, beach mayhem. I mean, these are really cute. I can handle anxiety. Oh, so important. Autism. I mean, you touch on just about everything. Where do you get these topics from?
It's just years of experience working with kids. I see things that I feel like should be covered. Also, my curriculum background of being a physical education and health teacher, I'm like, okay, these are things that we need to teach them movement wise. So I can do that right off the top of my head. And then from the health component, okay, I used to teach this in the classroom. What are some characteristics or traits that kids need to learn? Also, I'll just be around children. I got nieces and nephews. I work in different settings with children, and I'm like, okay, this is something that they need to work on. Cause like, for example, my niece and nephew were having a hard time just getting dressed one day. I'm like, guys, come on, we're going out, put your clothes on. And then I was like, okay, let's make a song about making it fun to put on your clothes before you go out, kind of thing. So that song's called Get Dressed. Yeah, it's just either real life experience or just my experience of working with children.
No, that's good. And the fact that you are a teacher is really important. Now, many of your videos connect physical activity with character development, as we just saw.
Yeah.
Can you share one exercise or game that teaches both body strength and emotional strength?
Okay. Um, Body strength and emotional strength. Okay, I'll go with push-ups. That's an easy one, right? Because one, the body strength is there, and emotional strength because like that's like an endurance exercise, especially if you're going to go for as many push-ups as you can, and that's going to also work on your mental component of can I push myself to achieve a tough goal, which is how many push-ups I can do. So I think uh, looking at that, and when I first started, it was more exercise based. I'm going to teach you how to exercise and move. I did a little bit of that. And now that I feel like I covered moving a little bit, you should know how to move, hopefully. And now let's just do some movement together.
Okay. And then you had the parents like me
Oh boy.
who cannot dance
I
or
heard you
not so
say that.
musical. I know I have no
I don't believe
rhythm.
that. I
I had
don't
no
believe that for
rhythm.
1 second.
I got to tell you, I don't know. My dad's side, they could not move. So, but if you like me, you can't do all those things. I mean, how can we still bring that rhythm and music into our children's lives without feeling awkward?
Well, I think that's the thing. I feel like everyone should feel, well, not everyone. There's a lot of people who feel awkward around children, but I feel like that's the innocence of children. They're not judging you, just go out there and have fun. And that's just what makes me love children so much, right? Like I said, they're not judgmental. They're so innocent. And if they see you having fun, that's gonna make them have fun as well. So like if you're dancing, I I'm pretty sure your kid is gonna dance as well. And they're not gonna sit there and say, hey, your moves are not good.
Well, it depends on the age, I got to
Yeah,
tell you,
that
because
is
I have a
true.
9-year-old who's like,
Oh,
you know,
that's that
so
point where yeah, you start embarrassing them a little
yeah,
bit.
so she's like, "Hmm." But I can relate to that because I used to teach preschool too, and, um, I remember learning to play the guitar. I only barely knew 2 chords, and I
Mm,
brought my guitar into, the classroom, and they were just fascinated. I could
wow,
have played anything, just
exactly.
it didn't make sense, it didn't sound good, and they were just so into it. So you're right, they're very forgiving, and thank God they are.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
hip hop culture is global, but it's also deeply rooted in the Black community.
Yeah.
How do you balance fun, learning, and cultural pride in your content?
I think for me, this is just who I am. Like I don't want to put up a front. I was doing some videos before where I was doing some talking heads. It's kind of I want people to know who I am a little bit, but I was also mindful of being genuine. And what I put out here on this channel is absolutely 100% me. So I am Black, so I'm Black culture. And that's how I see it. Like maybe I may be a little bit corny to some people, but that's who I am. And that's how I see it, to be honest.
You need to be corny with little children. They
Yeah.
appreciate that. So that's great. But if a parent like, working parents that we have a lot that watch the show in our replays. We have parents who are readers. If they only have like 10 minutes a day because they're working, all the time, or what one activity inspired by your videos would you suggest that gives them the biggest benefits for their kids?
Yeah, I mean, most of my videos are pretty short. They're
Mhm.
anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes or so. So I would watch 3 videos and call it a day. I do have a couple compilation videos because I understand too that sometimes
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's both sides of the spectrum. You got the parents who only have a short amount of time, and then you have the parents who are going to cook dinner for an hour and they need like to keep their kids in front of something. So like
So
you can see 1 hour, and that's just a compilation of like multiple videos, and you can plop your kid in front of it. But if you need something quick and easy, most of my videos fit that realm.
I love the fact that you have like hour of fun. We can see it right here on the screen
Yeah,
for reasons just like that, just to keep them busy, even if you just need a minute to yourself
yeah,
or an hour.
I know. I know.
So that is really perfect. Now, finally, and I know you're going to the answer to this, but they
Uh-oh.
might not. How can our audience follow your journey, support your work, because that's
Yeah,
important, and bring
absolutely.
more Mr. J energy into their homes?
Yeah, so I'm on socials. I'm on everywhere at Hey, it's Mr. J. Hey, it's Mr. Period J. As you can see right there, that's my YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I should be building up my Facebook community a little bit more. I gotta say that I'm slacking there, but I'm on all the socials, and you can find me. You can email me at hey it's Mr. J at gmail.com, and I'll get back to you. And yeah, I would love to connect with anyone who's loving what I'm doing and would like to spread the word.
It's difficult to keep up with all of the channels. I'm not going
I
we're
get it.
guilty of that too. But so don't be too hard on yourself. I want to thank you for coming on the show. And I think this is great. I want to see more of this from more of our people. It really helps the children. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me on, and maybe you could work on your dance skills next time I see you. Do something good.
We could do that. All
Yeah,
right, you take care. And
thank
a
you.
big shout out to all of you watching the replay of this episode of Back Talk by Successful Black Parenting. And those who are watching us live on Instagram, I saw you. I saw you. Be sure to follow us on social media. Click on everything. It helps us. All the follows, the likes, the ads, even if you don't buy anything, it really does help us to stay around so that you can see more representation like you just saw today. I wish you all the best and much success. So thanks for listening, everyone, and take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Back Talk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We'll see you soon.